All right, people. Just checking to make sure I can see everything. We are going to jump back into some koi fish. I have 3 I need to finish. Here's the second version. Here's model number 1. And I am starting to work on model number 3. Just trying different techniques for koi fish. This is model number 3. Sorry I didn't come in yesterday. I had some technical difficulties with the car. And I technically have technical difficulties today with my dishwasher. But I'm gonna deep clean that this evening. It's gonna probably take roughly like 3 hours to make sure that it's working correctly. It turned off on me this morning. So we will not be in this evening. Or maybe, not 1,000% sure. If I do this evening, it'll be late. But here we have the koi fish. I am going to go ahead and get started. We did white, and then I pearlized the white so that it gives it a reflective look, because I noticed in the other 2 I did some silver tones underneath. On this one I did some reflectiveness over the top. This thing here is being a little bit of a pain. So what we're going to do on this one, or finalize this one, is we're going to add some black. I'm just following, I won't say following, I'm kind of freestyling based off of this picture. And I'm going to start, and I'm not really going to wait for people to pop in. I'll just go ahead and get started, mainly because I'll leave these lives up for people to watch after I'm done. I'm going to use the medium brush just to make sure it works. And I'm going to turn down my PSIs till about 30. Let me pull up my time so I can make sure I am staying within a time. What's going on? I was supposed to be on yesterday, but I have ran into a few issues, so doubling back today, and this brush is painting amazing at the moment. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to add some black dots or black spots on the body, and we're going to start at the top of the head. No scale pattern for the black, mainly because in the pictures they are solid. So that's the first spot, and I'm gonna add one in the face plate or the gill plate. Appreciate it, sir. The good thing about koi fish, if you haven't watched any of the other lives, is they don't have a rule where koi fish have the same exact patterns on both sides, which that is a amazing thing. The fact that they don't have the same pattern on the same side, on each side, I don't have to be symmetrical. Kind of army base style paint this and not overpaint. You don't want to overpaint. In some cases, koi fish don't have the dots. So my very first one, just figuring out the color scheme. This is how it came out. I am semi-following this image here, just to kind of give myself an idea. Coming up with some new techniques, and first time painting koi fish. I have 2 more that needs to be done, and then we're gonna move on to something else to spray. Maybe a largemouth. All right, so my next step is to add black on the gill plate on this side. And I notice in a lot of the blacks, they have like hard stopping points. There's really no fade like the oranges and the gold per se. They have hard stopping points. So I'm gonna create hard stopping points with this stencil. That's number 2. You know, I tried the fly tying thing. It's not hard. The thing is, here in Pennsylvania, there's like a really well-known guy who like comes to Bass Pro Shop, and people wait for him. I think he still does it. I mean, I've been here for probably about 14 years, and I started just because of that. Based off of him doing flies, I'm like, you know what? I'll try this. And then a guy came into the shop and showed me how to do this. So that's where this came from. The easy part is airbrushing. I think the hard part is making the lure from scratch. It's a little bit more tedious, longer, depending on what the lure is, especially swim baits. You got to make sure that they swim correctly. But just airbrushing, yeah, I think it's easy. Even though some of the actual bait makers themselves prefer just to do the lure making themselves and let somebody else paint it. But I'll eventually get there. I'll eventually get to the point where I'm making them from scratch. I just gotta pick my poison. Do I want to do rods or do I want to do lures? Right now I got rods I need to finish. These are actually being done for a show, and I'm going to be selling them online, as well as giving away a few to a youth program. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat set these spots real quick before I continue. I need to find some other patterns. That's another good thing about koi fish. You don't necessarily need to use I do a lot of micro fishing now, to be honest. And like panfish. I used to bass fish really heavy, but after switching to a particular niche style bait finesse fishing, where you use like a bait caster in place of a spinning rod, and in some cases you can get away with using the bait caster to throw fly lures. That is the style of fishing that I like. So all of the smaller guys, bluegill, trout, crappie, smaller pickerel. Then I'm gonna add a spot in the fin just because I like how that technique, how it came out on the other one. Nothing too heavy. That's this side. Now that dot that's there in the fin, I'm gonna cover that with a the pink flesh paint that I made the other day here, because I noticed the koi fish's fins are like a pinkish flesh tone look, almost where it looks like it's skin versus a scale look. All right, I'm gonna actually see if I have some other stencils I can use. Just to kind of try to mix it up, so I'm not using that same white crappie pattern. That is technically a white crappie pattern that I pulled. Oh yeah, man, I've been doing this forever. I bought my me myself. I bought my first original airbrush over 14 years ago. I was given some while working at a company in New York. A guy gave me two, and I was airbrushing T-shirts at the time, and that was a bit of a headache, and I personally didn't like it. So I kind of gave up on the T-shirt thing, and came across a guy who did fishing lures, man, and he showed me how to do it. We traded fishing lure knowledge for tattoos, which was kind of cool. All right, I'm gonna heat set this real quick. Just remember, you don't have to necessarily copy exactly what I'm doing if you plan on doing koi fish. I'm just kind of making this up as I go. I just noticed that the blacks, dots and stuff do not like fade. So like for instance, how I have it kind of like just fading away there. It doesn't do that on their bodies anywhere. From the pictures I'm looking at, this is a swim bait koi fish. Something I personally would never throw at this size, but I do know people who do. I think I'm gonna add just one more spot here. You know, I haven't either, and this was just this year. A guy from Japan sent me a koi fish, but it was like really small, and I used it the entire summer and was catching fish on it left and right until I lost it. And then I tried messaging him back here in October and he hasn't responded. So I'm like, I'm gonna do some koi fish just on a bigger scale, kind of to teach myself to once I go down to a smaller scale, it's easier to do it on a bigger scale than the small stuff. Just teaching myself techniques and showing people who want to learn as well. What I'm doing right now, this is technically a bluegill uh, lateral line. This is the first of the lateral line, and then there's a second part. I wouldn't do the skinny lines on a koi fish. Just an example, lateral lines like these little thin guys. I will put this down first and then this on top, and it will create the double look effect. But I'm using this here to kind of make the koi fish army patterns. And between that and this crappie, and then this random dot thing here. And I'm also kind of looking at a picture just to get some ideas from. Muskie, larger bass, pike, all the predatorial type fish will grab this. I say any fish that got teeth will definitely take this. Might mess around and have a koi fish bite. No, I'm joking. All right, so I'm not gonna go too much crazier with the spots and dots. This is the one side. Yeah, man, I know what you mean by Amazon. And it's this time of the year. I'm shocked you even got a break. It would seem like you guys don't get a break a couple of days before Christmas. But yeah, man, take care. All right, so here we go. I don't know if I'm gonna add the dot on both sides, mainly because I don't want it to be quote unquote symmetrical. The next step is, yeah, man, I like fishing a lot too. I'm going to use this on the actual fin. It's a fleshy color that these koi fish in this picture have that I kind of made to follow. Too bad I can't do it on the actual tails because the tails are kind of soft. And if you clear coat the tail, it becomes a real headache. Like the lures can't be in packages with other lures. I ran into that the other night on the small trout that I did. They kind of tried to peel the colors from the others. Where am I parked? I walk, dude. I don't have a car. I walk everywhere. So what I'm gonna do is go with the white first, and then that flesh pink to create that soft fin look. Only thing is I am running into is I need to clean this brush. I need to take it apart completely and do that. All right, I hate to use this heavy brush, but I'm gonna use it. All right, where's the white? Now, to ensure I don't get any overspray, I'm gonna use my fin wheel and lay it over this fin just to kind of get a match. If you do like what I'm doing, I feel like I don't need to say this, but some people say I need to push that and say it more often. If you guys like what I'm doing, hit the subscribe button, all of that good stuff. You guys are already kind of commenting and all of the other stuff, so I don't feel like I need to say it, but someone brought it to my attention that I only say it at the end, and by the time I say it, most people are gone. But yeah, hit the subscribe button. I try to do this at least twice a week, and because I have downtime at work, it's been a little more than twice a week. We're looking at like 3 to 4 times a week. But once work picks back up, it'll probably be 2 times a week. All right, what I just did was made that fin stand out. Repo, you're a funny guy. Yeah, I haven't tried this in salt water. I feel like it would work for stripers, with brackish waters for sure. And the only reason why I say that is because of the hooks that I use. I know for sure that they are. I haven't tested them in salt water, so I wouldn't recommend this in salt water. All right, so that dot's kind of gone away. That's what I'm aiming for. So the next step, before I put down that pinkish flesh tone look, I am gonna heat set this white so it doesn't rub off. Appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate it. How are you there? Is that Richard and Dave? I only see about 5 comments and they kind of disappear. So forgive me if I miss your comment from looking down at the lure. All right. Next step. Things that I tend to try to do is add as much detail as possible to the lure. so that it's not just a flat based lower paint. So we're gonna do some fades in the fins. But I gotta fix this needle because it is stuck. I think it dried. Yeah, that dried up and it has some excess paint, extra paint on the needle. Yep, I could feel it. Holy moly. All right. So what I'm gonna do real quick before I use this, I'm gonna clean it off with some acetone. It's a small drip of acetone because it was sticking. I don't recommend acetone directly in the paintbrush if you haven't been doing it for a while, because it hardens the actual paint or ink or whatever you want to call it itself. Okay, you. Just some fingernail polish remover works to get the needle good and cleaned off. Alright, so now that I got the actual needle cleaned off and I don't want it to stick, I am going to use what they call needle juice by Badger. Yeah, I haven't seen a video from that guy in forever. Kanye East. It's an actual guy that goes by that was mimicking Kanye. Alright, so I'm just going to take up one little drip and let that run down the needle. That's a big drip. I said a little drip. Alright, let me clean some of that off because that's going to be a pain in the long run. Alright, I'm just cleaning some of that needle juice off because it will mix with the paint and break it up, and that is not what I want. There we go, nice and smooth. Alrighty. Alright, so we're going to take some of this and how is London right now? Is it really cold over there? I know it's really cold here. I think it's like 12 degrees or something. All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, we're gonna spray just a little bit of this pink flesh tone over top of this white to make it fade away. Oh, that was a mistake that I forgot to mention. So because that pink is really watered down, and I'll show you guys because it didn't fade, it looked literally like it wanted to run. I don't know if you guys can see that too well. It literally wants to run. So there's a trick. If your ink or paint or whatever you want to call it is watery, the trick is to heat your lure up and get it hot so that when the paint hits, it dries and you'll get a better fade. There's a few, man. There's a few. Marlon Bates is one of the bigger ones. He's been doing it on YouTube as long as I've been airbrushing. And I used to watch his channel of him making the bait right then and there, and then hitting it with some crazy paint jobs and going out and catching fish with him. I think he still does it. I haven't watched him in a while. Actually, I haven't watched anybody since I started my channel. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right, so the lure is hot. We got to do this pretty quickly because, well, no, it's not too hot in here. I mean, too cold. When it's cold in here, the lure, it gets, it chills off pretty quick. I don't want that to happen. I want it to stay warm just enough to create that fade. That's the fade you want. That pinkish flesh look to the white. And in this case, because the fin looks like it's not that much of a transparency to it, I literally put the white over top of it. And some of my other lures, I will let, for instance, that orange that's being covered in the fin here, I will leave it and let it just run through to create the look of transparency on the fin. But this fin isn't transparent, so that's the effect we're gonna get. Now, remember the black dot on this side. I did that on purpose to show the fin isn't transparent. It's kind of opaque per se. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to heat this up, get it hot so that this paint can fade properly. Yeah, man. Jump out there and do it. A lot of people will start to watch you. Like I said, I watch Marlon Bates, the main guy that I really watch, who's been doing it forever. He's just not I won't say he's super popular. He is from like across the pond, UK somewhere. He goes by Sonar Baits and he makes everything from scratch. Everything. And he shows you everything, and it's not wood. He does resin, he does the wood, he shows you the micro balloons, he shows you how to put the pins in the lures, the weights, the weight distributors, all of that stuff. His page is really nice. I don't know if he goes live though. He does it just video upload. All right, so I have created the fade on this side. I'm gonna heat set that real quick. What I'm making is a swim bait. This is koiish custom swim bait pattern that I kind of just decided to do because I've never done a koiish. All right, so this one is done paint job wise. This one is done paint job wise. And then the first one, the original, that kind of didn't have any black in it, that one's done as well. I threw the eyes in it just to kind of see what it looks like. But those are the 3 that we have so far. I have 2 more that I need to do, and then we'll jump into another pattern. This is what I'm basing it off of, just to kind of give myself some ideas. I think I'm going to do the one furthest to the front in the middle, the one that has the black going down more like a perch per se, how it's down to. I like that. So I'm gonna try that next on the next one. You did the koi fish before? Someone sent a gift or something. I appreciate it. I appreciate the diamonds. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the subs. All right. We are going to go to the next one. This one here, I already pre-started. It has a chromish look to it. And it has a scale pattern that you probably can't really see because the scales are doubled up, because the actual body itself has the diamond shapes in it. But down here at the bottom, you probably could see it a lot better. And then I did some chrome on the gill plate. So what we're going to start with, and I'm just kind of looking at that lure over there, or that koi fish on this page. I'm going to start with some shifting colors, some bluish purple to give it more of a reflective look other than just the chrome. Let me do a time check real quick. Okay, all right. Got 45 minutes. Good, good, good. All right. I'm going to clean this little bit of pink out of here. I don't want that to mix with the color shifting stuff that I got here. So I'm going to just clean this out real fast. Okay, so 6-7 is a thing. I mean, I know someone posted if you type that in Google, 6-7, like Google search, the whole page starts moving up and down, which is kind of getting out of control. I find it funny. I know a lot of people who get agitated behind it. My wife in particular, she gets really mad because my daughter does it. And she's a teacher, so it doesn't help because I'm pretty sure the kids at school do it. So we try not to do it at home. I find it funny because I think the kids now are doing it in a fashion where they're trying to trick each other into saying it. And back in my day, we would try to trick each other into saying Jackson, or the one I'm glad they're not using in 6-7 is smacking the back of the neck, Batman or Give Me Mine. Now, good thing that they're not resulting to violence with 6-7 like we did back in the day, where if you don't say a certain word, you smack the person's back of the neck, Give Me Mine. But yeah, I don't find an issue. You can post it and say it as much as you want. All right, so I'll give you a little history on 6-7. It was a song. People took it and used it as like bada bing, bada boom. Kids got a hold of it and ran rapid with it. And then, quote unquote, the religious folks got a hold of it and said it had something to do with a demon presence. So that's a little absurd. But the song itself, I forgot the name of the song and the guy. It's a code for cops, 6-7-10, meaning someone died. He didn't want to really say that, in the interview, but that's really what it means. Of course, somebody on TikTok turned it into a meme, saying like up and down. They probably could have honestly used 4 or 5 or 8 and 9, but 6, 7 was the one that worked. All right, man, let's get back to this koi fish. I got 2 more to do. So that song, right? Is he in Philly or is he in Chicago? Because I've been hearing so many different things. So somebody said it was a block. I heard that too. 6, 7's a block. 6, 7 was the code for cops. 6, 7, 10. I don't know what they said exactly like that. There's so many different things for it. The one that cracked me up was when they said it had something to do with demons. Alright, so I sprayed it with that reflective paint look. It doesn't look like anything as of yet. It just looks like some paint blemish spots. But once I heat set it, okay. Moderators are not doing their job right now. They're not. I'm gonna have to. I don't know where Daniel's at. Yes, it is a song by that guy, and he said 6, 7 in there, and they turned it into a meme, and everybody wanted to give some input and ruin it. Like I said, as long as the kids aren't attacking each other after saying it, I don't personally care. So I tell you, back in the day, man, we used to say "Give me mine" or "Batman" or whatever the term was. And you slap the person's back of the neck, and it usually ended up in a fight. But all right, we got the reflectiveness on here. It's kind of hard to see. Well, no, on the phone it looks pretty good. I see the bluish tint with the fade. And the next step is we're gonna lay down some gold spots. And I'm gonna lay down these gold spots to be the undertone for the scales themselves. I'm gonna actually leave this in here. I was gonna clean it out, but I'm gonna leave it. I have 3 different types of gold, but I really want the one that's gonna stand out the best. Gonna go with this one. So what I'm gonna do first, because this is really watered down, I'm gonna heat the lure up itself so that it doesn't run. In fact, what I'll do is I'll show you guys what it looks like before it's actually got any heat treatment to it. And it requires a couple of layers. So Yes, I do have a ventilation system that is technically not turned on, and you guys are inside my box ventilation machine, and I got the door wide open. The room's pretty big. I need to turn my fan on. I'm glad you said that. Um, Usually I am masked up and all of that sweet stuff, but I got the reverse fan here, and then I got this window here, and that's the reason why I'm kind of in this aftercoat jacket, just to break some of that cold down. So this is what the gold looks like. As you can see, it looks like drip points. That means it's wet on top of that those diamond shapes. If you look closely, yeah, man. I respect any human that's gonna not be disrespectful. I don't look at them for their skin. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna heat set this whole entire lure. Just gonna run the heat on it and let it get hot. I think that's hot enough. You have to be pretty quick because of course you're blowing air directly onto the lure. And then you have to go back and heat set real fast. What you want to do is kind of think of where you want to put your oranges at. So I'm going to put some of the orange, of course, in the face. Then on the back, a few spots. All right, that is really hot. Okay, I'm gonna hit this again. Yeah, man, whatever it is you were doing and you stopped doing, get back to it. Go ahead and get back to it. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you gotta take a break, get back to it. Now I am layering this because I want this to stand out underneath the orange. So I'm hitting it with a few layers. All right, now I'm gonna show you guys real quick. All right, we got the blank side with nothing on it. Well, just some of the reflectiveness. The reflectiveness is now starting to show better because the actual paint itself is starting to dry. So now you can see that greenish blue look. There is some black underneath on purpose to create different spots. And then here is the hard gold on this side. Now it really stands out in comparison to the other side. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna hard gold some spots on this side. And because it's koi fish, I said before, it doesn't have to be symmetrical. That is the best part of the koi fish that I like, not having to be symmetrical. All right, so we're gonna just put a little more orange or gold in here. Let me make sure that the lure is hot before we start. Also, another thing, chrome with heat will bubble. So if you notice it starting to bubble, cut back on your heat and just turn it down if you plan on following what I'm doing, or if you plan on using chrome. This chrome particularly, it's spastic. It's technically for RC cars, like the 110 scale cars. I used to paint those back in the day, and I kind of just stuck with that chrome. Spastic. Can ruin a paintbrush in a heartbeat. I don't recommend it on any of your good brushes. I have this little cheap one here. It's already chrome, so it doesn't scare me per se when it doesn't come out. It's hard to clean. Yeah, this is a glide bait. All right, well, I'm definitely gonna do the face plate in the gold, in the orange. So that's gonna get gold regardless. We're gonna add some to the body. I have to heat set this because it's coming out a lot heavier. Couple of places. One of the ones I know the guy who does a really good job in Arizona. He's called Backwater, I think it's called. I was gonna call him Backwood. Backwater. Or just message some of the top name guys. They'll send you blanks. They'll gladly send you blanks. Or find a bait maker. I know a few here that I buy from. And I repaint their stuff at the moment. I will eventually start my own. All right. I am spraying heavy coats on purpose right now, mainly to get as much on as possible. The only other thing with the heavy coats too, by the way, is when you go to lay like a stencil over top of it and you're not paying attention, it could knock it right off. The stencil could knock off the undercoat of gold. One more time, one more time. After this one, we'll go to the next step. It is a koi fish. And I'm actually only 19. Nah, I'm messing with you, man. And I do. myname.com. So the name of the YouTube, it must be debate.com. They aren't on the site yet. They will be though. All right. One more time. Mainly to clean this brush out. All right, we're gonna heat set this one last time, and then we're gonna add the orange over top of this gold. I know one thing, it's getting hot in here. All right, this side, you can see those spots of gold, pretty heavy. And now you can see the spots of gold on this side and the reflectiveness. There are some black spots that's kind of underneath to give it a little more definition. I'm gonna chime check real quick before we continue. Okay. So the next color is orange, and I'm gonna go with the brighter orange to make it stand out. I'm taking that orange and I'm putting it right in the cap. Let me see how bright this orange is, because I just found a brighter orange. All right, what I'm actually gonna do is I don't know if I should do this or not. I have this thing here that I usually slap around it, but in this case, I know it would rub and knock off the actual gold, and I don't want that to happen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this flat bad boy and kind of just go over the gold without the actual stencil first, and then go with the stencil second to create my koi fish look. All right. I'm gonna turn that down just a little bit more. I didn't realize that this orange was as watery as it is. I grabbed the wrong orange, but it's cool. We'll make it work. So I have to heat set this because it's a lot more watery than I expected. This one is a slow sinking model. But if you do reel it fast enough, it will come to the top. Just depending on how you retrieve it. Oh, come on, you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. It is going to be a nice lure. I don't know if you just got in here or not, but I'll show you real quick. Just one of the other ones that I just finished. This is me just messing around and following a piece of paper that I have. Here's another one. All right, so what we have now, just so you guys can kind of see, I put those scales over that gold so that the gold would be behind it. Oh, somebody in trouble. And what I'm going to do next with those two scale spots is I'm going to create around the edges the stop points so that the scale will still be in the middle and the edges will actually have stop points versus it looking like just a blur fade. I'll show you real quick just what I did. Creating the hard look. It takes a little bit of time just because I don't want it to I do. They will be on the website. It must be thebait.com. After Christmas. Sucky part about it is I have to do these for a show, and if they do sell out there, then I have to remake some. But if they don't sell out, then they'll be on the website, the ones that don't sell. So the local people get a stab at them first, then the rest of the United States, and then maybe the world, depending on how I go about that shipping process. Okay, this thing wants to be kind of a pain. heat set this real quick. All right, just to give you an idea, see the difference between the two. So that's the front without any of the actual stopping points, and that's the back where it doesn't create a fade. It has a hard stop like most koi fish, and then in the center you can actually see the gold inside of there underneath the orange to create that scale look. I need to just do that little bottom area. Remain third. All right. The next area is the front, right here. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break that up. I think we'll see. Actually, no, I'm not going to break that up. I'm going to stop right there and use that as the hard points. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the area in the face. Just want to make sure that they're not the same, because I've been running with this same stencil. I'm going to heat set this before I show y'all real quick. Welcome back. You wasn't the one that got the 24-hour ban saying all the crazy stuff, was it? Your name looks real close to that person's name. All right, so those are the 3 spots. And what I did at the front is I did spray like heavy in some areas and then faint in some so that the gold will come through in that orange to give it a nice fade. Appreciate it. So this side I'm gonna do that V shape that's in this picture that I'm looking at. First, I'm just going to create my scales. Okay. Man, David, I'm gonna tell you, you're on to troll on the wrong day. Wednesday. Wait a minute. Let me make sure we're on today's Tuesday. Okay. Come in here tomorrow and you can get in and have a field day. Because the trolls on Wednesday are a different breed of animal. You want to try to see if you can keep up with them tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, the clown, the circus will be here. I'm pretty sure. All right, I'm gonna heat set this real quick. So I'm gonna show you guys something I don't like. So you see that line in the gill plate right there? That hard line, that just hard stop. It to me screams that it was done with a stencil. So what I do, yes, I get those weird calls on Wednesday as well. I try not to answer them, but because I'm at a business that requires answering the line, I get those weird spammers. I definitely get those. All right, so what I'm doing now is just killing that hard line. So in the picture that I'm looking at, that I'm kind of semi-basing it off of, is this one here. And I think I'm touching the right one. Yeah, that one. So it has on this side V shapes, like triangles, 1 and 2. I'm gonna do, instead of, I think I'm gonna do just the one, and then I will do the black the same way. And I'm gonna use my, where was an eyeball on there? Okay. This is my perch pattern. So I'm gonna do just the edges to create that V with this perch pattern. I personally don't like that V. It's too sharp. I want that broken look. So I don't know how to pronounce that word, and if it's one of them cat girls, then okay, that might be the sound. I'll tell you, man, I am out of the loop with all of the different sounds and fads, I guess you would say, or trends. If it's the same sound, I think there's like this muscle-bound dude, Vladimir. He dresses up as a female and mess with guys, and he makes a weird noise, and then he makes his real voice. Yes, sir. This is a koi, the start of one. I will just show you a quick one, real quick, finished, without the eyes and stuff in it. Just messing around. This is my first time attempting koi fish, so I have different plans in my head that I want to do, but I'll wait to the next set of koi fish that I do. Okay, why in the heck is the picture backwards? All right. I'm gonna hard heat set this real quick. Appreciate the money. I do not do trout flies. I used to. I'm literally looking at my box of fly tying stuff, and the reason why I stopped, I said it earlier, there's a guy that comes here. Actually, he should be here in January. He does a seminar. I guess he's one of the best fly tyers in the world. And I'm not trying to compete with him or make anyone here in this area mad, because it's like 5 minutes from here. He comes to Bass Pro Shop. I think he comes like 2 or 3 times. I think it used to be like $30 to get into the class, and you get everything you need to tie these flies. And I'm like, yeah, I can't compete with that. And the fly tying thing seems to be really saturated in this area. In fact, I know it is heavily saturated in this area. From my understanding, Pennsylvania is really well known for trout and smallmouth. I think those are the two primary things that I hear people going after a lot. Catfish, of course. Then you got your other slew of fish, but I've seen people argue about trout and smallmouth on forums for Pennsylvania. So, yeah, I stay away from the fly ties. This paint here is slightly denser in comparison to the gold, and it has some opaque in it, opaque white, so it does clog on the tip of the needle over time, so you do have to clean it if you are following along. Create text definitely requires a thinner or reducer, as they will call it. So I said earlier, I don't really watch a lot of fishing related YouTubes, mainly so that I don't get any ideas from them. I kind of try to want it to be authentic, something different. So if you ever decide to go back and look at some of my older videos, they are quote unquote game based. There's a lot of game elements in my videos. Why is this not spraying anything? Is anything in there? Those might just be bubbles. All right. Give me a second. I think I might have ran out of paint, and it just got air bubbles in there. It looks like there's paint when it's not. I wouldn't say best stream of the year, dude. That's kind of pushing it. I appreciate it, though. Why is this? I have to turn it up. I didn't want to do that. Oh, it's spraying. What the heck? Ooh. All right, all right, all right. This brush is done. Let me just put some water over it real quick so it doesn't dry up. And I'm gonna grab one of my other brushes to finish this orange. All right, I'm gonna go with my extreme arrow. I usually, yeah, I'll usually use this brush for dots, just because the way it's has a regulator underneath. Show you up close. That little black thing underneath, it twists this, it twists, and you can adjust your air regulation. And when I have it set at a certain setting, it sprays out in dots. All right, let me make sure that this thing's gonna spray correctly. There we go. All right, I'm gonna finish off this orange here on this side of the body. Let me heat set that real quick. Time check as well. Okay. The saltwater lord comment. Not really. I do have a few hooks for saltwater. I thought about, you know what? I'm getting ready to lie to you. I have made some saltwater jigs for black bass. I used to take and go up with a friend of mine, and we would go black bass fishing, and I would make a 1.5 ounce jig bucktail that I like to use, and they like, and I would reach my limit right away. I did sell those for a while for like $3 a piece when everything was cheap. When the United States was cheap. Let me rephrase that, because I've seen somewhere, some other places, it's still pretty cheap, just not the United States. Alrighty. I'm gonna put some water in this one here. Put it off to the side because I am done with the orange I won't say for today, but for now. I am done with the orange for now. The next step is the black. And I left some spots open on this side in the face on purpose. Here is the finished orange on this side. And the finished orange on this side. I went kind of bigger and heavier in comparison to the other ones. I went more of a smaller look with the orange. But, alright, we're going to do some black. And that is a pretty decent amount of black in that one. Alright. Alright, I am And you see now, that's the reason why I am doing what I'm doing. I bought these lures, these blinks off of people, and they sell them for pretty cheap. Anywhere between 80 cents to about, I'm getting ready to lie to you because now that I think about it, they're pretty expensive. Some of the blinks are up to $40, just the blink. So these here I got lucky with. A guy was getting rid of them. He sold 5 of them for like $5.40 for all 5. So I grabbed them and was like, I'll try some koi fish on these. And the kicker for me is I actually don't fish with swim baits this big. I use really tiny swim baits. But what they call these is KOs. And a lot of people get mad when you do KO models or remakes or whatever you want to call them. Checking the time, you guys. I do have to get ready to go. I will most likely be back this evening, maybe. Not 1,000% sure. But here's what we got so far on number 4. Here is number 3. Probably put it up closer. And this is my first time painting a koi fish, by the way. So that's number 3. Here is number 2. And number 1, the very first one I started with, was me just learning the orange and reddish scale system in gold. And here is number 1. And I based it off of this picture here. Kind of freestyled it myself. But I have to get ready to roll for now. So I appreciate you all for watching. If you were following along, or if you plan to follow along to create your own koi fish pattern, there are stencils out there. My recommendation is to do hard stops versus it fading away like this first one, unless you want the first one to fade versus the hard stops. And what I mean by the hard stops is an actual stencil itself to create those extremely like sharp, jagged, rigid edges versus it kind of just fading away. I personally think it looks better. So that would be my recommendation for koi fish. Like I said, I appreciate you all for watching. I will catch you in the future. If you want to buy any lures, they will be up on the website after Christmas. There are some on there now. And yeah, man, the ones that are extremely expensive, those guys are making them from scratch. They're not mass produced. And it requires like a lot to make a lure from scratch and it swim correctly or glide correctly. And definitely takes time. And then if you come across somebody that's really good and they know how to do both ends where they can make the lure and paint, you're going to pay anywhere between $200 to $700 easily, no questions asked. One of the ones that I know of that was selling like around $400 at one point, it was a Henkel Henkel trout, and I think he did in Henkel shad. And I think at one point he was selling the blink, and then people would literally buy them and resell them because he would do it in like almost like a drop style is what they would call it, where the lure would come out and he would only do a certain amount, probably like 20 or 30. So there are people who buy them. If you go after leaving this live, type in the most expensive swim bait. There is one out there that's around $4,000. I think it started at $1,000. John B was the original buyer. I think they made the lure out of cowhide or horse hide or something crazy. And it was probably the length of the tip of your finger to your forearm. And I thought it was ridiculous. But he bought one, and yeah, swim baits get expensive just because not everybody can do it. If everyone could do it, then the price would drop. But yeah. All right, guys, I got to roll. I will catch you in the future, probably today, probably tomorrow, not 1,000% sure. But it will be a continuation of the koi fish. And then the next step, I would, yeah, that would hurt. Imagine throwing it off versus losing it to a fish. Catch you all. Peace out.